lecture held by public and philosophical participatory practices. Just a few months ago, in December 2015, Natalie Adlang and Alexandra Hook were asked to host an exhibition that publicly defined conceptual design. Together, they are a recognized force in this field. And now we are privileged to have them both here in discussion. So please put your hands together, Nat and Alex.
So thank you for coming. Alex and I are here today because we want to discuss the exhibition Designer/Conceptual, which you hopefully just have seen, or maybe you'll see it later today. This is more of a self-reflective exercise for us, and if you don't follow us, you can just follow us in the brochure, which you have. Okay, Alex, would you like to tell me a bit about why you chose the title Designer/Conceptual? Because to me, conceptual is associated with art, not necessarily design.
Well, for us, really, the conceptual design and designer/conceptual really has its roots in conceptual art, but has moved on from that. It almost begins for us with Marcel Duchamp and his 1917 Arm-Up urinal. It's really, since then, we feel conceptual design and conceptual art in whatever form have existed in parallel. And mainly, however, conceptual design has normally been branded as art or the designers as artists.
Okay, so is that why you've chosen to separate designer and conceptual?
Yeah, we wanted them to exist as two separate notions, but as an altogether title. Also, the slash sort of suggests that it is a proposition for a working title, that it's open to suggestion and change, almost a piece of conceptual design in itself. Yeah, it's also, it really gives a distinction between the two and shows that it is important, like gives a certain definite tone, and gets you to reassess the words as well.
Yeah, so designer is the main thing, and then you have a conceptual approach.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's the idea that you consider yourself designer first, and then your like definitive notion and ideology really is conceptual.
Okay. So, in terms of design, the context of design, how would you define conceptual?
It's often quite a difficult notion to grasp, although hopefully you all have heard of it before, and if not, there's a great explanation on the back of your brochures. For us really, conceptual is the whole notion of the idea being the forefront of everything, your entire approach. It's almost becomes a way of designing our lives. It's a system of thinking.
Do you think there's a difference? What's the main difference between conceptual art and conceptual design?
Well, we came up with a certain line that says that conceptual art seeks to pose a question, whereas conceptual design poses a question that seeks an answer. So that whole idea of placing having a functionality, placing your work in context, the idea of how your work travels and its use of effect.
So in the manifesto on the back of the brochure, you mentioned the word object quite a few times, and I think object in design terms usually means materials and something tactile. I mean, would you like to explain how objects are referred to in conceptual design?
Well, we also mentioned quite heavily the word reappropriation, and that's really what we were trying to do, is reappropriate the term object and bring our own definition to it to really explain the idea of, or object is meant to represent any possible outcome. The object is what really conceptual design is for us. It's the idea that it's the completely appropriate thing, but it can be anything. So an idea is an object in itself, as well as an architectural house. We're trying to open up the term to really mean all possible materialization of an idea, I suppose.
Yeah, like suitable for that context.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, we need to round up. I think we're running towards 10 minutes. I hope. No. But I just want to ask you if you want to explain a bit about this public philosophical participatory practices. I recognize it. I know I've seen it around in newsprint, and I've seen it in a certain event. Yeah, like a few. Yeah, I recognize it from some events recently.
Well, really, it's a practice, come institution, come approach that we're really trying to implement as the basis of the movement we're trying to create. It's a place for us, and it's very accessible, it's very adjustable. There exists a place where we archive ideas, we think of ideas, there's space and time to really conceive and look at all the potential of all surrounding objects, forms and people. But really it's also about a place for discussion, education, lectures, seminars, libraries, archives. It's our base. We have people from outside coming in, but there's also a constant group that tends to...
So it's spread out, it's not an institution, it's more like a...
No, it's a conceptual institution.
Nice. Alright, well, thank you very much. I know this has been quite a conceptual discussion in itself. And I really liked the nice touch of the blue. I noticed there's a lot of the same blue in the room. It's everywhere actually. I was thinking that yesterday on the bus. It's around us everywhere.
All the time.
All the time.
It's very much something, a conscious decision we made, taking influence from the Yves Klein blue as the idea of being a representative colour and object of conceptualism.
It's kind of, because it's called International Klein Blue, and it's almost like the public blue, because it's everything public is that kind of colour. So we hope it's going to remind you to think about, everyday occurrences that inspire you, and to talk to people about it. Consider your surroundings. Take inspiration from them.
Well, thank you for the conversation.